Good morning, Grace Chapel. My name is Eli Reese. I'm the son of Chris and Jennifer Reese, brother of Jacob Reese, and lover to Delaney Moore. This morning, I am sharing a short testimony on my fasting and prayer experience since the beginning of this year. I started fasting in January, and it was my first genuine experience with fasting. I say genuine because when I first tried fasting last year, I made it to lunchtime at work and quickly decided that I like eating. So I'll try fasting some other time, and after that, I didn't try again until this year. I can happily say for the past 7 months, I've fasted once a week, and I started with daylight fasts. It was January, so sun up to sundown wasn't too bad. And then I leveled up to 12-hour fasts, and recently have been doing 24 hours. Now, you may be wondering, Eli, if you like eating so much, why'd you start fasting? Because it's like the opposite. Well, our young adults class had the bright idea to join the church-wide practice for the new year. And so naturally, as a follower of Jesus, I wanted to give it my best shot to see what the Spirit can show me through this. I had nothing to lose, not even weight. Admittedly, another part of me wanted to fast because it seemed like one of the most tangible and embodied of the spiritual disciplines. I wanted to be the type of Christian who could not only fast for the sake of fasting, but also grow closer to God through fasting. And now here I am, only 7 short months later, living proof that it brought me closer to our Father in heaven. So there I was, my first Monday, fasting. And I don't know why I chose Monday, but it was probably because it's already a pretty fun day of the week, so why not pile it on and get it over with? It was still just as difficult as I remembered. I felt hungry, of course, but one thing in particular I found annoying was that most days when I fasted, people brought in donuts, cookies, pizza. It was the weirdest thing. It was like somebody knew I was trying not to eat, and they did it anyways. But by asking for God's strength in those moments of temptation, I felt peace, and I was reminded of why I was doing this. I remembered the purpose of wanting to give more of my life to God as a living sacrifice. And with that motivation, I made it through my first sundown fast, and you better believe breaking fast that first night felt amazing. I was confident that with my first week under my belt, fasting would only get easier. But boy, was I wrong. The second week was probably twice, if not 3 times as hard on me as the first week, and it didn't help that my job at work was pretty slow at the time. So I had nothing to distract me from being hungry all day. Then the third week went easier for some reason, and the fourth was hard again. And it kept going back and forth until about 2 months went by, and I finally got to where I could do it and not dread it the night before. After that, fasting for me turned into a game. I wanted to see how long I could keep this weekly discipline going. It became a fun challenge, and I had momentum. But what do I mean it turned into a game? Well, what is a game? In my very ignorant and humble opinion, it's a voluntary acceptance of parameters that restrict you but point you towards a goal with obstacles in the way or tools to help you. There are different depths of games. Obviously, hide and seek is less profound than chess or football, but maybe not. Perhaps someone can prove me wrong. But going back to me fasting, I first voluntarily accepted the goal. It wasn't forced on me, and that's very important. No game is fun when it's forced. So what was the goal of the game? Well, in the beginning, it was not eating from sunrise to sunset, and the obstacles were hunger, headaches, donuts, more hunger, and no work to distract me and fatigue. And what were the tools to help me? Breakfast, water, work to distract me, community, purpose, and prayer. And as I played this game of fasting more, of course, I learned things just like you do with any good game. I learned first that I could go longer than a few hours without eating, But more importantly, I found that leaning on God in moments of temptation, or in my case, starvation, is the only real dependable way to get through those battles. Of course, it sounds so obvious when I say it, like, duh, Eli, we're at a church, we've heard it a million times. But no, I want to stop for a moment and really convey to you how fasting changes your perspective on what you can do with God on your side. When you start fasting and you're starving all day and you can't focus on the simple tasks to save your life, but then you pray to God for help and you mean it because you need it, and then you breathe deeply and it washes over you like a wave. It shows what it's really like to have the almighty loving Father on your side.